America remembers a tragic day 22 years ago today. Good evening. This is CTV News. I'm Patricia Vallone. Well, it was 22 years ago today. 4 planes were hijacked by terrorists and flown into the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Nearly 3,000 people were killed that day, the deadliest terror attack on American soil. This was the scene this morning at the Pentagon as the U.S. flag was unfurled at the spot where American Airlines Flight 77 hit the building at 9:37 a.m. Officials, families, and friends gathered at the Pentagon and Ground Zero in New York today to remember the victims of that fateful day.
Thank you all. The incomprehensible acts of September 11th created a void in our nation, left by the thousands who never returned home. Their families feel the absence of fathers and mothers and sons and daughters at birthdays and holidays and graduations and weddings and on ordinary days of the week.
My cousin, Port Authority police officer, Christopher Amoroso. Is that a day that goes by that we don't think about you? You're our hero.
In those terrible first hours and days, people rushed to give blood, to volunteer in hospitals, or to hand out food and water to exhausted first responders.
Now, last week, the New York City Medical Examiner's Office identified the remains of a man and woman who died at the World Trade Center thanks to advances in DNA sequencing techniques. There are still more than 1,000 human remains from 9/11 that have yet to be identified. And 9/11 events were held across the country today, including our area. First Lady Dawn Moore and Lieutenant Governor Aruna Miller gathered with the first responders at the Anne Arundel County Police Department. A memorial and wreath-laying ceremony was held for all the firefighters, police, and EMTs who sacrificed and died in connection with the attacks.
Nearly 3,000 people were killed during the attacks, including 343 firefighters, 60 police officers, and 8 EMS workers. It is estimated that over 4,000 first responders have died since the September 11th attacks in 2001. These brave men and women did not set out that day to become heroes, but they did by placing service above self.
And in health news tonight, the U.S. has approved updated COVID-19 vaccines today, hoping to bolster protections against the latest strain. The CDC still has to sign off on it and is expected to issue recommendations tomorrow. The news comes as healthcare experts are warning against an uptick in COVID numbers across the country and our region. A Montgomery County elementary school recently reinstated a mask mandate in one classroom after 4 students tested positive for COVID. The DMV is seeing a rise in the number of cases as well as hospitalizations, but nowhere close to the pandemic levels. Dr. Stephen Thomas of the University of Maryland played a critical role in using barbershops to help spread the word about COVID vaccinations.
This uptick we're seeing, think about it, my friend, what's happening? Everybody is coming back to school. They're going back to the office. They're going to the U.S. Tennis Open. They're going to football games. They're going to choir practice. In other words, we're coming back together, and what are we doing? We're sharing air. Let's keep it simple. COVID is an airborne virus. And if it's in the air and you don't have good air circulation, you're going to be exposed. And if you're not vaccinated, you're likely to have symptoms and maybe get sick. If you're immunocompromised, you may get sick. And for people age 65 and over, they are some of our most vulnerable.
As for the newly approved COVID shots, vaccinations could begin later this week. Well, authorities have released body cam video from a police chase that turned fatal. The incident occurred on August 13th near the intersection of Suitland Road and Allentown Road. After a 911 call about shots fired involving a black BMW, a Morningside officer spotted the vehicle and gave chase. The pursuit ended when the suspect crashed into a car on northbound Allentown Road. The suspect fled the scene on foot but was apprehended a short time later. The victim killed in the crash was 44-year-old Rogelio Sanchez Gomez of Suitland. Well, Prince George's police are also investigating a double fatal shooting in Oxon Hill. It happened just after 11 o'clock last night at the Oaks at Oxon Hill apartment complex on Livingston Terrace. Investigators say a man who had been shot was found inside a car and died later at a hospital. Another person who had been shot to death was found in a parking lot of the complex. The victims have been identified as 28-year-old Charles Oxley of Oxon Hill and 30-year-old Lamont Oxley of Washington, D.C. Meantime, police released the name of the man who was shot and killed in Clinton on Friday. He is 22-year-old Rashard Pryor of Temple Hills. Investigators say he was shot just after 4 p.m. on September 8th in the 8700 block of Mike Shapiro Drive. Anyone who may have information on either of these cases is asked to contact police. And you are watching CTV News. I'm Patricia Valone. We'll be back in just a moment.
We, the moms who have lost our children to social media harms.
We
have had enough. Our politicians have failed, working for lobbyists, not us. We need your voice to pass the Kids Online Safety Act this fall.
Join us. Join us. Join us. Join us.
Let's lead the way.
Welcome back. Well, do you have a vacant dwelling in your community that looks like an eyesore? One local lawmaker has introduced legislation that would establish a registry program for all unmaintained buildings in Prince George's. The measure would require inspections and fines for non-compliant property owners.
Property registry program, our long-term goal is really to do something similar to DC, where these properties can be taxed at a higher rate or have higher penalties, making it so it doesn't benefit you to let your property sit vacant. So the first step is this registry program. We want to know all the vacant properties that exist to attach the highest penalty we can at the moment, but our end goal is to work with the state to give us more authority to even have harsher punishments for vacant property in Prince George's County.
And the bill CB 80 focuses on property owners who may be holding onto vacant buildings without plans to sell or rehab them. And the county is gearing up to launch a new program aimed at helping small businesses grow. The Prince George's Economic Development Corporation, along with M&T Bank and FSC First, are set to begin a small business accelerator program. The free program, which lasts 8 weeks, will include both in-person and virtual sessions for county-run small business owners. Officials say the program will give participants insights that could potentially lead them to get more capital for their businesses.
This program is a good fit for companies who are looking to grow, who are looking to get access to capital within the next probably 6 to 18 months. Because as you know, getting a loan or getting financial resources is a process. And so we want to be able to equip businesses before they begin that process so they can be successful.
And the deadline to register for the program is this Saturday, September 15th. The program begins on September 26th. Montgomery County Police need your help finding a missing woman. This is 57-year-old Arminda Williams. She was last seen on Saturday, September 9th in the 8500 block of Fenton Street in Silver Spring. Williams has black hair, brown eyes, and wears glasses. Police say she was last seen wearing a white collar shirt, black jeans, and gold slippers. Anyone with information on her whereabouts is asked to contact police. Well, if you watched the Baltimore Ravens take on the Houston Texans last night, you most likely saw a new somber public service announcement. The minute-long video was put on by Maryland U.S. Attorney Eric Barron. In the PSA, you see a young girl in class doing her work when her brother appears. The teen boy, who also has blood stains on his shirt, proceeds to tell his sister that he's not coming home. Officials say the goal of the video is to encourage Marylanders to help end gun violence in their communities. And still to come, Simon Buggs with your Monday Sports Page report. Stay tuned.
Hey there, sports fans. I'm here at FedEx Field where the Commanders beat the Arizona Cardinals in their Week 1 victory. I'll have more on the game coming up in a bit, as well as some highlights from the UMD football game that was played yesterday as well. Don't move.
In Iraq, our truck hit a roadside bomb. I had about 16 surgeries on my hand so that I could regain function. And when I came home, I needed a new roof due to a storm. And I was about to lose homeowners insurance as well. I applied for Operation Homefront Critical Financial Assistance Program. And it's good to know that when we come home, there are people who are there that care about us. Operation Homefront, they've really been a blessing.
All right, everybody, it's time for your Monday Sports Page. We'll start with some NFL news. The Washington Commanders are now 1-0 in the season after taking down the Arizona Cardinals yesterday in a close game. This team has fans very excited this season due to not only the talent on the roster, but also because of the sale of the team, beginning a new era of Commanders football. And former Commanders quarterback Robert Griffin III is looking forward to seeing what the team can do this year.
It's just really good to see the city with a lot better energy about it. The team doesn't have the distractions. The community is back together. I remember, like it was yesterday, 2012, when Alfred Morris ran for what felt like 5,000 yards against the Dallas Cowboys in a winner-go-home game at the end of the season. And I never felt FedEx Rock more than that day. And I think the fans are super excited about bringing that back. Playing meaningful football, but at the same time, also feeling good about your football team. So I'm excited about that for the team.
Switching to some college football, the UMD football team was in action over the weekend as well against UNC Charlotte. The Terps took a while to get going as they went into halftime down 14-9. But in the third and fourth quarters, the Terps got into a rhythm and were able to put points on the board. In his first play during the third quarter, quarterback Talia Tagovailoa completed a 14-yard pass to receiver Ja'Shawn Jones, putting the Terps at the 1-yard line. Then 2 plays later, the Terps ran a quarterback sneak that resulted in a touchdown, putting them up 15-14. The Terps took a chance and went for 2 after the touchdown and converted thanks to a pass completion to receiver Ty Felton. Switching to the defensive side of the ball, after the Terps scored, the 49ers' offensive drive resulted in no points. This was due to multiple highlight plays such as this sack by Terps linebacker Ja'Shawn Barham for a loss of 5 yards on third down. The Terps will end up scoring 3 more times, making the final score 38-20. You can catch the Terps in action again as they face off against Virginia at home on Friday. And that is your Monday Sports Page. Simon Buggs, CTV Sports.
Thanks, Simon. And now checking your weather forecast. Tonight, partly cloudy with lows near 66. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with a chance of showers, highs around 86. And Wednesday, possible showers, thunderstorms with highs around 78. Thursday gets nice and sunny, highs near 75. And that wraps up our CTV News Update. I'm Patricia Vallone. Have a great night.
Petty Officer, 2nd Class, Michael A. Noeth, United States Navy. Barbara K. Olson. Ruben S. Ornado. Diana B. Padro. Lieutenant Jonas M. Panic.